different winners of the 3 Triple Crown races. Do these 3 all need to race in the Breeders' Cup to determine the Horse of the Year?
I think it's definitely wide open now, and the wrench thrown into it was Ken McPeek, the trainer of Swiss Skydiver, entering his filly against the boys in the Preakness. He thought about entering her in the Derby, could have shaken things up then, decided to pass and go to the Kentucky Oaks. But yeah, now, especially the 3-year-old Horse of the Year race, I think is wide open now. And I think the owners of Tis the Law, particularly, are breathing a sigh of relief because they passed on the Preakness to train up to the Breeders' Cup. And if Authentic had won that head bob, I think Authentic now would be the leader in the clubhouse for the 3-year-old Horse of the Year trophy.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision for the trainers of Tis the Law to pass on the Preakness. But because the Breeders' Cup is so close to the Preakness, does that give him a leg up in the upcoming race in November?
He's only run 5 times this year, which ideally shouldn't be too many times for a horse to run, but horses run less and less frequently over time. So I think it's better. It's more like the Travers was for him. The Travers, they were able to train up for 7-8 weeks after the Belmont, and then he produced arguably his best career effort to date in the Travers. So I think that's kind of what they're banking on now, is that they want to have that same kind of break between the Derby and the Breeders' Cup. And listen, the Breeders' Cup is a bigger race than the Preakness every year, but especially this year with the Preakness so close. The Breeders' Cup is what everybody's pointing to. Bigger purse, more prestige. It's against older horses, so you get a lot of bonus points if you beat your elders. So it's definitely the bigger prize, and I understand their decision.
Rachel Alexandria was not the last filly to win Horse of the Year. There have been a few fillies to win Horse of the Year, but fillies tend to run on the European circuit against the boys a lot more than we have in America. Why don't fillies run against the boys here?
I think the difference between us and Europe is that in Europe, there are fewer Group 1 top-level races exclusively for fillies and mares. In the U.S., there's a lot more opportunities for people to race exclusively against their own sex. So I think that's part of the reason. But I think it just takes a certain kind of personality. It takes a kind of personality to want to do something different, want to accomplish something extraordinary. Ken McPeek has that personality. Steve Asmussen had that personality when he was training Rachel Alexandria. There's a guy, Wesley Ward, who ships his horses over to Europe, actually, to run against the boys. So it takes the right kind of trainer that isn't afraid to try something out of the box and fail. And overall, there are a lot of more cautious trainers in the U.S. than ones who are willing to take a risk.
Ultimately, the personality of this horse has been called a warrior's personality. Are we seeing that this filly does have that heart of a champion?
I mean, she definitely showed it today. I mean, they were pretty much stride for stride the entire stretch. But if you watch enough races, when the horse on the inside is digging in and will not let that other horse by. And just for that whole final 1/8 of a mile, I just didn't think there was any chance Authentic was going to run by her, even though, physically they were very close. She really was game, and not only game to turn him back, but game to hit that hole in the first place, because the jockey Robbie Alvarado made an early move on the turn, and she went through a narrow opening to take the lead early, to have the bravery to do that, and then also have the guts to hold off the Derby winner for the entire length of the stretch. Seems like a warrior to me.